Hello friends, welcome you all to another video and today we are going to talk about the Holy Sonnets, that is the Death Be Not Proud by John Donne. In the previous lecture we have seen the romantic poem by John Donne, that is the sonnets, that is the Petra. Actually it is not a sonnet, but it is a romantic metaphysical poet, and now this is the sonnet which is the metaphysical sonnet here, that is religious poem also. So John Donne has written both the romantic and the religious sonnets. So now in today's lecture I'm going to read out all the lines, and after that I will explain four to three stanzas or couplets. So let's start. I'm reading now. You can also see I'm just making it zoom so you can easily see. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou think'st thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee to go. Rest of their bones and souls delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. And better than thy stroke, why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake utterly, and death shall be no more, death thou shalt die. So that was the actually, and you can see the summary here, and already I have posted this summary on our Google Classroom, and now one by one lines we are going to analyze, we are going to see the meanings of it, and maybe 4 to 6 lines today in this lecture we are going to cover. So first line is like that: death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. So here actually the narrator, the speaker of the poem, is directly challenging to the death and asking the death that she should not be proud. Okay, even though the actually the lot of people are calling death as a mighty and dreadful, but actually the death is not a mighty and dreadful according to the poet, and therefore a death should not be proud because it is not a mighty and dreadful. So here you can see in the description also, I'm going to read out for your sake. The speaker immediately creates a personified version of the death by talking directly to him, and paints a picture of death as an arrogant being and one who needs to be humbled. The speaker assumes the position of the one who must humble this being death. He tells him that he ought not to be so proud, even though for generations people have feared death and called him mighty and dreadful. The speaker, however, with a voice of absolute authority on the matter, simply states, thou art not so. This poet uses the literary tactics of atmosphere to drive home his point. Apostrophe occurs when a writer addresses a subject who cannot respond. Readers know immediately that the sonnet will consist of one speaker who will do all of the talking and accusing of his subject. Death, though adequately personified, cannot respond to the accusations of the speaker. So actually you understood all the things, as I told you that the speaker actually he directly calling to the death because it is a personification, and telling that even though the people are calling death or him as a mighty and dreadful, but actually death is not like that, and therefore death should not be a proud. Okay, so let's analyze the line 3 and 4. Line 3 is like that: for who those who thou think'st thou dost overflow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. So here, for those whom thou thinkst thou dost overthrow. So here the poet is saying that to the death, that death might think that how death can take the lives of the people, how the death can take the lives of the people. Okay, it overthrow. the people, their lies. Die not for death, nor yet canst thou kill me. And here he said that even the death, he is not fearing about the death, but the poor death, you cannot kill it because you are not going to die, and therefore the death is not going to kill him. So here the description is like that. I'm going to read out it for yourself. Here the speaker accuses the death of having illusions of grandeur. He claimed that while death thinks that he has the power to kill, he actually does not. The speaker first humbles death by telling him that his idea that he has the power to overthrow lives is simply an illusion, and that he has no such power at all. Then, to further humiliate death, the speaker calls him poor death. It sounds almost as if the speaker is making fun of death for having lived under the illusion that he had any sort of power over life or death. Then he addressed death in a more personal manner, challenging him by saying, "Yet canst thou kill me?" It seems dangerous for one to threaten death in this way. However, knowledge of John Donne's background and ideologies can give some insight into the speaker's confidence here. Though everyone knows that physical death does not indeed occur, the speaker is challenging death in a different way. He uses the Christian theology of eternity to taunt death by telling him, essentially, even if you take my physical body, you can never truly kill me because his soul will be alive in the heaven or in hell, whatever the God put him, according to his deeds and according to his faith. And now in this lecture, we are going to cover the last couplets or last 5 to 6 lines, and the remaining 8 lines we are going to deal with tomorrow's lecture. Okay, so lines 5 to 6. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure then from thee much more must flow. So from rest and sleep, which but thy picture be. So here the poet or the speaker is saying that whenever a person he sleeps, okay, whenever he rests, and when we rest we sleeps, and in the sleep is nothing but it is one part of death. Because what happens after when we die? So actually we just sleep, but that sleep where you cannot dream anything, where your senses all gone, and you are not going to get up from your sleep. Okay, so that is the permanent sleep, that is called as a death. So here the speaker is saying to death, or this poet is saying to death, that it is a sleep or rest which is your picture, so nothing is more than that. Much pleasure then from thee much more must flow. So it is just a pleasure because the people, after taking the one picture of death like in the sleep, so they just wander here and there in their dream, and in this way they just became very happy and they got the pleasure. So likewise the speaker is saying, and now here in the description I'm going to read out for yourselves. With these lines, the speaker compared death to the rest and sleep, and even uses the word pleasure to describe how one should feel about death. Just as a restful night of sleep brings pleasure, so should death. The speaker implies that sleep is simply a small glimpse of death. Thus, there is nothing to fear in death, for death will bring something like a pleasurable sleep. So guys, I hope that you understood the 6 lines of this sonnet, holy sonnet, Death You Should Not Proud. And if you have any kind of difficulties, please ask in comment section, or you can WhatsApp me, and don't forget to fill up the attendance form. So thank you for watching. Thank you very much.